In the year 62 AD, amid the sweltering haze of a Roman summer night in Seneca's villa on the Esquiline Hill, the air hung heavy with the acrid tang of burning myrrh and flickering olive oil lamps that cast writhing shadows across cool marble floors. Distant chariots rumbled like thunder through the Via Sacra, while the faint cries of slaves echoed from the kitchens below. There, in that chamber of scrolls and secrets, the Stoic master Lucius Annaeus Seneca, playwright, advisor to emperors, whisperer of truths to Nero himself, sat across from Epictetus, the young lame slave whose unyielding gaze pierced like a philosopher's blade. Epictetus leaned forward, his voice a rasp honed by chains. "Seneca," he demanded, "you bid us practice premeditatio malorum, to rehearse our ruins before they fall. You preach amor fati, to embrace the fate that crushes us. But what if the self you cling to is the prima materia itself, the base lead that must dissolve in the alchemical vat? How do you coagulate gold from a soul ordered to vanish?" Seneca fell silent. The greatest mind of his age, author of letters that would outlive empires, rendered speechless by the paradox. For in that question burned the hidden flame. Transformation demands not endurance, but annihilation. You have felt this rupture, haven't you? That midnight gnaw when life's certainties crack like parched earth. The ancients knew, not the sanitized stoics of coffee table books, nor the pop alchemists peddling crystals for the soul. No, the real initiates of the mystery schools. From the shadowed halls of Alexandria, where Hermes Trismegistus etched his emerald tablet, to the forges of Paracelsus, amid plague-ridden Europe, they guarded a map, forged in the crucibles of stoicism and Western alchemy, depths plumbed later by Carl Jung in his Red Book visions. This was no mere philosophy. It was the opus magnum, the great work, veiled as Seneca's trials, buried under centuries of dogma, forgotten in the Renaissance rubble, hidden lest the masses wield its fires. Stoicism's apatheia was never numb detachment. It was the albedo stage, the whitening purge after Nigredo's black descent into shadow. Marcus Aurelius whispered it in his Meditations. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. But deeper, alchemically deeper. This is solve et coagula, dissolve the ego's dross, reforge it as the philosopher's stone. Imagine it, your prima materia, that raw chaos of fears and appetites, thrown into the retort. Memento mori strikes first, not as morbid chant, but the alchemist's blackening, facing the corpse within. Epictetus embodied it, lame yet unbreakable. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Jung saw the parallel in individuation, wrestling the shadow until eudaimonia dawns. Not happiness, but godlike flourishing amid ruins. But I must warn you, as Seneca warned his pupil that night, this knowledge is dangerous. It demands you trade comfort for the crucible. The 4 alchemical trials of Seneca, his hidden map of inner transformation, reveal stoicism as alchemy's lost code, Nigredo's abyss, Albedo's purification, Citrinitas, dawning light, Rubedo's ruby rebirth. No easy steps, no affirmations, just raw, perilous descent. You, listening now in the quiet of your room, heart quickening. Have you glimpsed your own prima materia? The rage you bury, the fate you curse? The ancients hid this for a reason. It remakes worlds within. Tonight, we begin the plunge. Are you prepared to shatter with Seneca? To let the shattering question consume you? Or will you turn back to the surface light, forever half alive? The first trial awaits. Listen closely. Before we descend into Seneca's first trial, pause with me here in the dim forge of history. You must first taste the ancient soil from which this map was quarried. Not the polished marble of emperors, but the volcanic ash of forgotten schools. It begins in the 3rd century BCE, Athens under Zeno of Citium, where Stoicism was born in the Stoa Poikile, the painted porch. Not dry logic, but a fire discipline. Amor fati, love of fate, whispered as the prima materia's surrender. By Nero's Rome, 1st century CE, Seneca, the exiled philosopher, forced suicide in 65 AD. refined it amid poison cups and imperial shadows. His pupil, Lucilius, received letters like veiled grimoires. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils, was no mental exercise. It was the alchemist's rehearsal for Nigredo, that black putrefaction where the soul rots to reveal gold. Across the Mediterranean, in Hellenistic Alexandria, 2nd–3rd centuries CE, Hermes Trismegistus etched the emerald tablet. That which is below is like that which is above. Western alchemy flowered from this. Paracelsus, in 16th century Basel, scorning leaden dogmas, proclaiming the philosopher's stone as inner tincture. Epictetus, the crippled slave turned sage in 1st century Nicopolis, chained yet free, echoed it. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Marcus Aurelius, scribbling meditations on the Danube frontier amid plague and war, fused them. Amor fati, as Rubedo's crimson integration. These paths, Stoic colonnades, Hermetic athanors, alchemical labs, converged on one perilous truth. Transformation demands dissolution. Nigredo's crow-black descent, Albedo's lunar wash, Citrinitas, yellowing intellect, Rubedo's solar rebirth. You see it? Different tongues, same crucible. Now, the core. This is the opus magnum, the great work, Zolve et coagula, dissolve and coagulate. Imagine your soul as base lead thrown into the athanor, prima materia. That seething chaos of appetites and terrors must blacken first. Seneca called it premeditatio malorum, nightly rehearsals of ruin, not to wallow, but to alchemize dread. The Sufis named it fauna, annihilation in the divine. Greeks, apatheia, passionlessness as godsight. No escape. As Hermes decreed, separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross. Picture the parable of the crippled king from Paracelsus, Spagyrix. A monarch, hale in youth, lame by decree of fate. He hobbles to the mountain forge, casts his golden crown into the furnace. It melts to slag, Nigredo, then purifies in steam and salt, Albedo, rising as elixir. What you seek, the smith whispers, lies in your broken stride. The king drinks, walks reborn. This is no fairy tale, it's your life. The betrayal you nursed, the body failing, fate's indifferent hammer. Amor fati demands you kiss the blow. Deeper still. Eudaimonia, the stoic flourishing, was never hedonic bliss, but demon-guided wholeness. The philosopher's stone crowning the work. Jung glimpsed it raw. The Nigredo is that condition of despair in which the ego is dissolved. But the ancients walked it first. In Seneca's baths of Baiae, amid marble and murmurs, he told Lucilius of the inner corpse. Memento mori, remember death, as crow's beak pecking the heart's illusions. Short sentences shatter here. Face it, bury it, rise. And you, listener, in your fragile now, have you premeditated your own pyre? The job lost, the lover fled, the breath shortening. This is the ancient dare, not to numb with apatheia, but wield it as blade. Here psychology bridges the abyss. Carl Jung, delving his red book in 1913's Crimson Throes, unearthed what Seneca veiled. Individuation, the self's emergence through shadow work. The shadow, that prima materia of repressed rage, the anima's wailing cavewoman, animus, armored tyrant, is Nigredo incarnate. Jung wrote, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Modern labs confirm it. Neuroplasticity rewires involuntary descent, cortisol's flood, yielding serotonin gold. Archetypes pulse eternal. The wise old man as Epictetus, the divine child as Rubedo's fruit. Freud glimpsed the shadow. Jung integrated it, echoing Hermes. As above, so below, in Psyche's retort. What mystics bore in flesh, analysis maps in dreams. You fear this plunge, because it devours the false self. Yet eudaimonia waits beyond, not peace, but fiery sovereignty. Seneca's trials are no relic, they are alive, demanding your leaden now. The map unfolds, prepare. The map unfolds, prepare. Seneca's 4 alchemical trials. Stolen from the gods, forged in stoic fire. Demand your flesh, not theory, practice. These are stations on the opus magnum, the great work. Walk them. Or remain lead. First, prima dissolutio, The prime dissolution. You begin as prima materia, raw ore of self-deceit. Seneca commands premeditatio malorum. Premeditate evils. Sit in silence at dawn. List your ruins, the lover's blade, fortune's theft, body's rot. Visualize them crashing, wave after wave. Psychologically, it's abyss gazing. Nausea rises, ego fractures like brittle glass under boot. The world tilts. Isolation howls. This is Nigredo. The blackening. Your shadow unchained. Jung's repressed beast clawing free. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. Seneca snarls to Lucilius. You feel it. Ego's death throes, a psychic putrefaction. Second. Lavacio salts. From Nigredo's sludge, extract purity. Epictetus whispers apatheia. Not cold numbness, but detachment's scalpel. Practice. Amid chaos, pause. Breathe the blow. Say, this is not me. Journal the flood, rage's salt, grief's brine, then rinse, in reason's stream. Inside, its vertigos fade. Terror ebbs to crystalline calm, like fever breaking at midnight. Albedo dawns, the whitening impurities volatilized, soul's mirror polished. Marcus Aurelius etched it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Tears evaporate. A silver light pierces the murk. Third, Citrinitas ignis, the yellowing fire. Rare station. Skipped by cowards. Paracelsus named it the dawning wisdom. Intellect's solar blaze. Seneca's trial. Amor fati, fully embraced. Rejoice in fate's whip. Dance on your pyre. Daily rite. Affirm the wound as teacher. I will it thus, psychically. It's kundalini's spark. Doubt incinerates. Insight floods like desert dawn. Colors shift, black to white, to amber glow. Citrinitas bridges. Hermes Trismegistus. As above, so below. Igniting mind's retort. You emerge philosopher, not pawn. Fourth, Rubedo coagulatio, the reddening coagulation. Culmination. Solve et coagula eternal. Dissolve, recombine as gold. Seneca's eudaimonia blooms, demon flourishing sovereignty. Integrate the shadow. Embody the trials in action. Face the dragon daily. Wedded. Felt as molten unity. Pain alchemized to power. Self-reborn indestructible. Rubedo's ruby stone gleams individuation complete. Jung's self-throned. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus intoned. You are the king, striding from the forge. These trials mirror the alchemical furnace, no mere parable. This is techni psyches, technology of soul. In the Turba Philosophorum, adepts describe the vas hermeticum, sealed vessel where prima materia ferments through four colors. Nigredo's crows feast on corruption. Albedo's swan glides pure. Solve. Liquefy the ego in acid bath of premeditatio. Coagula. Crystallize in apatheia's fire. Paracelsus thundered in his Archidoxis. The stone is extracted from man himself. Seneca veiled it stoic, but it's the same retort. Your body is lab, will, as Athenor. Repeat the cycle. Each orbit refines. This devours pretenders. Modern eyes confirm the forge. fMRI. Scans from Harvard's 2018 mindfulness trials show premeditatio shrinking amygdala hyperactivity. Fear's throne tamed, default mode network silenced. Neuroplasticity surges. BDNF spikes involuntary descent, rewiring despair to resilience. As in van der Kolk's trauma studies. Shadow work, per Jungian protocols at Zurich's ETH, boosts dopamine coherence, birthing Rubedo's joy. Cortisol crashes. Oxytocin binds the recombined self. Yet science grovels here. Servant charting the mystics, map, Neuroscience maps the path. Ancients blazed it in blood. You stand at Station 1. The vessel seals. Enter. Or flee to illusions. The work calls your leaden heart. Transform. You stand at Station 1. The vessel seals. But listen. Most never step inside. They recoil. Hearts pounding like war drums in the chest. This is the shadow encounter. The raw confrontation with what Seneca called the premeditatio malorum. Not mere mental rehearsal, but the deliberate invocation of your inner demons. Resist. And they fester. Your body becomes the battlefield, armored against truth. Wilhelm Reich saw it clear. Character armor. Those rigid muscular shells we forge from childhood wounds. Tight jaws, hollow chests, frozen hips, deflecting the psyche's fire. Modern life perfects this fortress. Endless scrolls on glowing screens. Dopamine hits from Netflix binges. Pharma-numbed haze. Alcohol drowns the demon's whisper. Porn numbs the soul's ache. You know this rhythm. Distraction is addiction's alchemy in reverse. Transmuting gold to lead, sovereignty to slavery. Epictetus warned, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them. Yet you cling to views like life rafts in a storm, building walls against the flood. The vessel cracks open anyway. Prima materia stirs, your unrefined self. The putrefactio begins. This is Nigredo, the blackening, alchemy's first trial, mirrored in stoic memento mori. Meditate daily on death's scythe, but feel it now, the descent. The dark night of the soul crashes in, not as poetry, but as annihilation. Saint John of the Cross named it La Noche Oscura. O night that guided me. O night more lovely than the dawn. O night that joined beloved with lover, lover transformed in the beloved. Dead. Yet he knew the terror first. The soul stripped bare, faith's sun eclipsed, God himself vanished into void. Sufis call it fana, annihilation of the nefs, ego's obliteration in Allah's ocean. Jung mapped it as shadow work. The unlived life surges up, not just sins, but repressed genius, rage, lust, wild creativity devouring the false persona. Imagine it. Floor dropping from underfoot, identity dissolving like salt in acid. No ground, no God, no you. Panic claws the throat. Thoughts loop in abyssal spirals. Suicidal whispers slithered in. The body convulses, sweats, shakes, bowels empty like alchemical retort purging dross. Disoriented, you babble to mirrors that stare back empty. This is solve. Total liquefaction. Most seekers bolt here. 9 out of 10. They flee to gurus, pills, platitudes. Just breathe. Manifest positivity. Cowards. Paracelsus spat truth. All things are poison, and nothing is without poison. Only the dose makes a thing not a poison. Your psyche demands the lethal dose. The dragon's full maw. Hermes Trismegistus echoed in the emerald tablet. That which is below is like that which is above. Your inner hell mirrors the cosmos. Forge. Marcus Aurelius endured it in Antonine Plagues, journaling amid rotting corpses. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Ray. Wrestle or perish. Breathe. This dark is mercy, not curse. Nigredo's blackness is the womb's veil. The false self must rot for the true demon to sprout. Jung revealed, the shadow hides not only beasts, but unlived light. Your philosopher's stone concealed in muck. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, he wrote, but by making the darkness conscious. Rumi pierced it. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Your depression? Not pathology, but soul scream. Anxiety? The Athenor heating, burning ego chaff. Existential dread? Amor fati's prelude. Seneca's call to love your fate, even this pit. You, scrolling in blue-lit insomnia, popping SSRIs like candy, hear me. I've stood here, knees in the mire, tasting void's copper tang. This is no disease. It's the work thundering. Die to illusions. The shadow devours, then rebirth. Albedo awaits. White purity from black soil. But only if you stay. Surrender. Let it break you open. The vessel hums. Descend. But you do not descend forever. From the abyss's floor, a glow kindles. Not the false dawn of denial, but Rubedo's crimson fire, the reddening. This is Baka, Arabic for subsistence, the Sufi persistence after Fana's annihilation. The vessel, once shattered in solve, coagulates anew in coagula. What emerges is no fragile ego, but the lapis philosophorum itself, the philosopher's stone, red and incorruptible. Jung named it individuation, the self, whole, mandala complete, shadow wed to light. Paracelsus, that rogue alchemist of the Black Forest, whispered of this opus magnum's end. The greatest medicine is inside thee. Seneca knew it as apatheia. Not cold indifference, but freedom's flame, passion purified. Epictetus, chained in Nero's shadow, embodied it. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. The trials forge you thus. Amor fati no longer mantra, but marrow. Imagine the master returning. Before enlightenment he chopped wood, carried water. After? The same axe bites true. The bucket brims with nectar. No robes, no ashram escape. The mystic re-enters the bazaar. Dusty, clamor-filled. Like Rumi dancing amid drunkards, or Marcus Aurelius on the Danube front. Mud to his greaves. Emperor yet slave to virtue. This is the return. Not retreat to mountaintops, but deeper plunge into the fray. Your kitchen sink, your cubicle hell, your lover's quarrels. These become the Athenor now. Memento mori evolves. Death no terror, but daily chisel sculpting eudaimonia, flourishing soul. The world, once prisoned, reveals itself as forge. You engage, transformed, not armored against pain, but woven through it, invincible. Listen, the deepest truth shatters the map entire. The treasure was never sought afar, it slumbered in prima materia. You, the base ore from the start, Hermes Trismegistus, etched it on emerald. Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross. Stoics veiled it in premeditatio malorum, alchemists in 4 stages. Jung in archetypes, dance. All point to one sun, the unus mundus, unified world. Rumi unveiled it. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Seneca's 4 trials. Your hidden alchemy, mirror the psyche's crucibles, Nigredo to Rubedo. Shadow work yields the stone, apatheia births the demon. To K. East, West, ancient agora to Zurich couch. Traditions converge. No hierarchy, no chosen path. The reality devours distinctions. You sought keys. The door was illusion. Prima materia pulses in your chest, eternal. And you, yes, you, breath caught in this narration's web. Screen glow etching your face like a palimpsest. Feel the shift? The vessel hums still, post-descent. This is your invitation, not to more striving, but cessation. Tonight, or now, sit. No cushions, no apps, bare floor, breathe. Not the yoga pranayama of influencers, but raw inhalations, chest rising like bellows on prima materia. Observe. Let thoughts riot, shadows leer, joys flicker. No judgment, no escape. Premeditatio malorum in flesh. Invite the dragon daily, 5 minutes bleeding into hours. Wrestle as Marcus amid plagues. Love the fate uncoiling. What awaits cannot be grasped. The stone gleams inward. The marketplace beckons transformed. But pause, in this hush. After Nigredo's roar, Albedo's wash, Rubedo's blaze. After Solve's liquefaction and Coagula's crown, what abides? Not you, not I, not world. What? Echo it into dusk. Who hears the reed flute's final wail, and answers?